Hi, my name is Rich, this is Tiffany, and we are going to tell you about the legalization of marijuana. Mary Jane, cannabis, dope, joints, weed, it has a lot of names and it all refers to marijuana or cannabis. We want that the Dutch government is going to legalize cannabis or marijuana in the Netherlands, and we're going to try to convince you. We are going to talk about the current situation in the Netherlands, about the effects of regulation, governmental registration, debts caused by marijuana, experimental phase, the stereotypes, and places where marijuana is currently legal.
So the Netherlands has a pragmatic policy. The first opium law is from 1919, and since then it has changed a bit, but mostly it remained the same. It is often seen as confusing because the sale in shops is tolerated, but the cultivation of the plants is strictly forbidden. That means that the shop owners are forced to buy their supplies illegally, and that everything has to go on the black market. It doesn't make sense that you can sell marijuana in the shop, but you can't buy the stock legally. The government has no control over the trade, and that's why criminality is very high.
We have a short video about the effects of regulation.
Oostkust in Massachusetts en in Maine is gebruik van marihuana uit het illegale circuit gehaald. Dat geldt trouwens ook voor buurland Canada. In de donkergroene staten, daar is marihuana beperkt verkrijgbaar. Bijvoorbeeld alleen voor medicinaal gebruik. Dat levert Amerika een hoop geld op. Colorado was de eerste staat die 4 jaar geleden cannabis legaliseerde. Dat heeft de overheid daar sindsdien $500 miljoen aan.
So this video basically says that the state of Colorado in the United States, they legalized marijuana, the sale of marijuana, and the government earned $500 million just from the taxes alone. It also created 18,000 jobs in the marijuana industry, in the cannabis industry, which allows the government to have a better economy. The effects of the regulation would be that the citizens would have a right of free choice, just as they have with alcohol. They can choose whether they want to use it or whether they won't use it. The government can deduct a tax on the sale of cannabis, which allows them to get more income. It also stops money laundering and illegal trading, because if you make sure that the growth of marijuana is within the hands of the government, it skips all the illegal growers and makes illegal trading for them harder, because it's available everywhere in all the coffee shops. It also provides a quality control, because if the government grows their own marijuana, they can check the quality and make sure that there are no chemicals used which could harm the users of marijuana. And it also creates jobs, which is good for the economy. The governmental registration, it fights against addiction. A lot of people have the thought that marijuana or cannabis is very addictive. That there is a true side on that, but there's also a lot of false information about that. With governmental registration, whenever you would go to a coffee shop, you have to show your ID to show that you're 18 years or older, and a registration will be made of that. If you are in debt, or you go to a coffee shop a lot, the government can educate you about the addiction of marijuana, which will lower the numbers of addiction and will help the users. Health insurers can also see whether a person is going to a coffee shop a lot, and you can doct it by saying you have a disease, which allows you to use marijuana, or they can throw up your the bounty that you pay every month because you use a lot of cannabis. It also helps the government to educate everyone in the Netherlands about the use of cannabis.
So how many people have died from marijuana? Well, as you can see, in 2014, 2015, 2016, there's been none. From alcohol, 1,500 people have died, and from tobacco, 1,900. But yeah, cannabis none, and there's never been a case where someone has died from marijuana.
The experimental phase. The experimental phase is what the Dutch government is doing right now. In 2019, they started the experimental phase called the experiment closed chain supply coffee shops. What it basically means is a lot of coffee shops in the Netherlands, almost every coffee shop, every coffee shop in the Netherlands is forced to buy their stock illegal. What this does is the government has selected a few people, a few companies in the Netherlands in certain cities, and only those companies or people are allowed to grow marijuana, followed by the rules provided by the government. So only they are allowed to grow marijuana, which will be sold directly to the coffee shops. So the coffee shops get their stock from the growers, and there is no illegal trading. First off, this allows the government to deduct tax from the growers and from the buyers. The growers, they have a lot of terms and conditions to make sure that they provide the same type of quality weed that would usually be available in the coffee shops.
Well, there are a lot of stereotypes around the use of marijuana. First, you get easily addicted, but as you can see, you have 4,077 addictive people of alcohol, and cannabis only 70,000. So that's not exactly true. Stoners are lazy. That's a stereotype. Stoners are not motivated, or stoners will not get successful. Well, that's not true, because there are lots of successful people like Barack Obama, Justin Trudeau, and Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Steve Jobs. Those are just a few of famous and successful people that use marijuana. And yeah, stoners are uneducated. That's also really false. And marijuana is bad for your health. It's also a stereotype. And that's not true, because marijuana has a lot of health benefits, and it helped. There's much research on that it helped with cancer, with reuma as painkillers, and with Alzheimer's disease and many other diseases. So marijuana is just good for your health.
These are the places where marijuana currently is legal: Uruguay, Canada, some states in the United States, Alaska, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Nevada, Oregon, Washington State, Washington DC, and Vermont. Those are the states where it's currently legal to purchase and use cannabis. It's strange that the Netherlands isn't among these, because we were one of the first countries that tolerated the use of marijuana. So why not just legalize it? Because it provides a lot more income for the government. We can educate the users better. We can oversee the quality of the marijuana, of the cannabis. And it creates a lot of jobs. So there are a lot of positive side effects. And this is why we think that the government of the Netherlands should legalize marijuana. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. This was our presentation.